All right. Hey, folks. Ryan here again with the CactusCon crew, and I am here with Dan. And thank you very, very much for your talk. Much appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for being on with us today. I'm going to go ahead and just discuss our giveaways real quick, and then we'll get to it. So we just gave away contest 117. We have our winners Char and G-Con, and then we also have our next giveaway, which goes to Des Light. So those giveaways have now been announced. So we have the CactusCon 8 hardware badges and the CactusCon 9 t-shirt. For the t-shirt, you simply, I'll be in touch, by the way, or just message me if you want, Des Light. You get to pick the style, size, and all that, and we'll just ship it out to you, basically. For the hardware badges, we actually have the hardware badge right here from CactusCon 8. So this is a bad boy right here. This is a big boy, first off. There's the back. Little double side. Look at that little guy. Oh goodness. And it's a heart rate monitor, a gyroscope, all kinds of fun stuff on this badge. I think there's a temperature thing. Yeah, IR thermometer, all kinds of fun stuff. And we're about to initiate some additional giveaways. We're going to be giving away 2 more badges. So I'm going to initiate that right now. There it is. Should go out. All right. So the next one, we're going to do a second giveaway simultaneously, and that is for the Jack soldering kit, which is technically for another conference. I didn't really think about that, but it's a really cool soldering kit. It's the DEF CON Jack little guy. So if you don't do a bunch of soldering or you want to learn, or if you do and just want to have some fun, there it is right there. And then BLE key, which is a Bluetooth little, you know, what do you want to call it? I don't know if it's development or pen testing, but a little fun device. So Dan, oh man, there were some great comments in the chat during your talk. My favorites were discussions of the cat cameos. So Jamie Winterton, who's been a staple, helping us out for many years now, was on our Call for Papers board this year again. So thank you, by the way. She brought up, you know, like, holy heck, there's a cat cameo. And then you go talking about cats back and forth. And notes and comments on your costume changes.
Yeah.
Those were great.
Yeah, I wanted to play around a little bit with the format of this talk. So I really wanted to lean into the idea of this being like a pre-prepared video and not necessarily like just doing a like slide and talking head format. And I think part of that meant like I was going to record it over the course of a few days. So like the wardrobe changes weren't even like on purpose as like an intentional thing. It was just the fact that I like did this over the course of a few days. And the cats, like, well, you know, what am I going to do? Kick the cat out just because I'm trying to record? No way, they're adorable. I'm not going to kick them out. So yeah, like they're here. They own the place. I just rent it.
I also note your shirt you're wearing right now. I like how you tied it all.
Yeah,
together.
this is the Smash logo that like kind of is the theme across all the Smash games. So you know, gotta represent that.
Yeah, I love it. We had a comment during the talk. I'm totally fascinated by this story on the edge of my seat about where it's going. And I was like, is this person being a smart ass? Because I think it's, and they were like, no, really? I'm like, this is really awesome.
Yeah, I almost actually just got rid of all the other bugs and just did a 45-minute talk on that first one. I feel like there's still a lot more that I could have said there, like more like details to talk about. But I did want to eventually move on. But yeah, that first thing, like about, you know, the interpretive dance winds up being more literal than you probably thought it was going to be. Like maybe reading the talk description, you thought, oh, well, that's just some weird exaggeration that people say. Like, no, it's like actually a pretty good description of how that like exploitation and like exfiltration mechanism works.
The visual element to it, it reminds me of something from the fighting game community that you and I are both a part of. That may be a little kind of left field, but it's just in my brain, it kept clicking. There are visual hacks when you're playing fighting games. There's audio and visual hacks when you're in person playing fighting games. Maybe not right now in the era of COVID, but when you're at a tournament or even just, you know, casuals as we call them, right? And you're playing. I'm a Street Fighter guy myself, and I got it painted on the wall. I love Street Fighter. You can hear the joystick, and you can hear like if someone's in Street Fighter, at least, you know, Zangief, you know, he's got a pile driver where you do circles, and people often will buffer the circles, so you can literally hear them. We call it churn and butter, and they're grinding there, and you're like, okay, he's gonna pile drive me right now, right? But you can also, there are some people who literally like they play like this. You watch them at tournaments, and they're like this, watching the TV, like watching their opponent's hands, trying to see what they're. Oh, you're gonna jab? Okay. So
yeah, one of the local players, Smash players in Phoenix, Taj, is a wonderful player, and was one of the original like inspirations for Smashbot. Would do that. He would play Mewtwo, and if you like got into a position where he could do the combo by muscle memory, but needed to know where you're DIing. Basically, he needed to know like what you're pressing. He would just look over at your like controller to see like what you're pressing, and everyone's like, "No, don't do like like start playing like this, like holding the controller behind your head or something like that." Yeah, it is a good time.
Yeah, a lot of the tournaments, the Japanese style, at least for the those types of fighting games, they've been head to head for years. But the American style has, for the whole forever, has been side by side, and so it's just you're just like, I see what you're doing right there. It becomes obvious.
Yeah.
They started putting up dividers, so that people can't. And then you see every once in a while in a tournament, people looking over the dividers. like
partly it's an esports thing too. You want to have like the look and feel of like this like A versus B, and it looks good on stage.
It does. It does. There was a comment during the talk. This talk is making me not want to write my chess server engine, and then follow up with, haven't done the risk modeling for it yet, but this talk will make sure I simulate some attacks.
Yeah. At least like the old school board games like chess are pretty well understood, and like they don't have any like hard real-time requirements in the sense that like fighting games do, where like I can't tell you how many man hours have gone into lowering the latency in Melee to like to shave off like a half a millisecond here and like a quarter of a millisecond there, right? To like bring like the latency as like absolutely down as possible. Where like that's not really particularly critical in like chess. Like you could just use a TCP connection. Even if you go to chess.com, like I'm pretty sure it's all just web requests. Like I don't think that they use any like weird like WebSocket thing. Like maybe I'm wrong about that. I haven't looked into it, but I don't believe they do.
So I'm looking through the chat here. There's a lot of conversation. A number of folks basically saying like, "Wow, that was in depth." That was super in depth. Have you seen, or do you believe anyone's actually tried to implement what you came up with, or when you originally came up with it, was it already patched out before, or were you able to? Basically, what I'm getting at is, your display of, you can actually have recorded video, as opposed to having the playback. For the playback file, that's completely, obvious. You have the hex values, sure, whatever. Have you been able to successfully implement that and have other people do it? I'm wondering if other people were able to successfully do it and not just you.
So it hasn't been public. So like the read overflow bug, that first bug, it was patched only like for real only recently, because we tried to do that patch first back in like October or whatever it was, and that's the one where I said it broke everything.
Yeah. Whoops.
So there's that. The scrubbing tool still doesn't exist yet. There's a reason why that's hard too, that I get into. This is one of those reasons I could have talked about this one bug for like 45 minutes. So there doesn't yet exist a good way of modifying those SLP files. Like there's not a library for it, basically. So in order to do that, I'm going to like write a library that's capable of modifying those files, which also kind of opens up a door of like potential cheating, since those SLP files are like used as kind of like proof of things. So if you could like modify them to say arbitrary stuff, you're like, hey, look at this match that I played, and it shows you winning. Like, then you present it to the tournament organizer and say, hey, look, like I played this game, here's the replay, I won. And then like that gets really complicated. So like how to implement that in a way that probably doesn't like open this Pandora's box of people cheating is going to be tricky. So I want to be able to both like stomp out zero out those that heap data, like I'd mentioned, without kind of ruining it for everyone along the way.
I think Billy of King Kong fame right now, so to where my head went, he's going like, oh, just modify the. Yeah, they can't use emulators for their proof. They have to use real machines and record them. And I'm sure you've seen that whole.
Oh yeah.
At this point, but I'm just thinking of that, like, I'll just change a couple bits here. Look at my score. Okay, cool. So we're basically here on time. Just want to thank you very, very much. I was so excited to see the call for paper, submission. And then when I saw the video, being a hardcore FGC guy for most of my life, I live and breathe Street Fighter. I got it all, you can't see it off camera now, but I have my crap all over. So when I was like, oh, this guy's a smasher. Oh, he wrote the damn bot. I've seen that bot. Like, it was really cool to have you on. So, hey, thank you
Glad to be here.
for being here.
Hey, you bet. My pleasure.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.